owns a restaurant bar. So,
he cuts us in a great deal at Buck and Honey's. Yeah, Tommy does a great job for not only the organization, but I think to bring the guys together to a common place all the time.
Yeah,
food's consistent. His staff's awesome, right? They always give us the room, so he pitches in quite a bit to help it. But that over time took us the ability to say, all right, hey, this is what we think it costs us per event. Now we know for sure it's about $1,400 an event to run, right? And so that makes it pretty easy to go out and say, all right, each year right now we have 14 guys who are partners additional. So on their membership, an extra 1,000. So out of our 35, we have 14. So we got to go raise 20,000 every year. Okay. That's a pretty reasonable number.
But that's the whole goal, so that your 1,000, my 1,000, his 1,000, all 100% of it goes towards the causes. Let's as a board raise our money on the back end so that it's 100% donated and we can just raise the expenses side of things.
Yeah. So sitting back today, we're how many years into this? 8?
This is 8 seasons.
Yeah. So I think I've been a part of 5 or 6. But what's it like to see the vision come to fruition?
Oh man, that's a great question.
I know like the smaller checks are still very meaningful. Like some of the best impact were these, $35,000, $45,000 checks. But when we hit $1 million donated, it kind of just hit like, oh, that's a pretty big, that's a big number to just have a random idea and let's try and implement it and make it happen. So to me, it was when we hit $1 million donated, it was like, all right, we've done something significant on that end for the community. So.
Yeah, but overall, like it's just amazing because we're all in business and we have goals and we have visions, and seeing them come to fruition brings a lot of joy. Yeah. I just think about this from like a charitable angle of like the lives touched.
Oh man. I mean, I hope at some point, and this is just a dream, we get to meet some of these kids. And and again, I don't expect it. What I mean by is I would love like somebody to touch your shoulder or your arm and be like, hey, when I was 5 or 6 or whenever I was at this charity.
I was at Mentoring Positives or
whatever. And we got funds, and I got to learn that you were part of that, and you were you did that, and that this is what I'm doing now today, and I'm 18. That stuff to me is mind blowing.
Gold.
Mind blowing. Yeah, like I get a high for days off of going to the event. Like we get done with the event, you spend time with the charity that won, right? You get to hear from the directors and the people who work there. Sometimes they bring a kid to tell the story. I feel like I could run through a wall for days. So that for me is like the perfect quarterly fill up of my tank, honestly, every time. And it doesn't matter the story or where the money goes. It just feels so good to know that this group of men is making the impact and is leading. And that's the biggest thing I think I want people to hear, is that this little idea, right? This simple idea can turn into something like this if you choose to.
Yeah.
I would say, Josh, back to your initial question, how does that happen? It's like, get a couple of guys together and just talk about it. Or guys and gals, whatever it is. Hey, I want to do something in my community. Let's figure something out.
Yeah.
I always go back. My personal story was my family, my grandma, my grandfather, my mom were all citizens of the year in my hometown. And it was like, I always knew in Madison, there's something more for me to do than just work and be a member of the community. And it's like, what is that? What is that? Mm-hmm. And when this hit, it was like, this is it. Like, this is the formula that's going to work and make me feel like I'm impacting my community and putting my energy into the community. Give it a real purpose, I think.
Yeah, and so everyone that's, we've kind of talked around it, but just to be really clear how it's formatted is we give $1,000 per quarter per person. And that's how we get to $100,000 if we have 100 men in the organization. So it's really simple, really clear for anyone that wants to join up. And that way it makes it a very marketable thing. It's like, hey, just $1,000 a quarter from your hard work that gets to go into the community to bless those that aren't as blessed as you.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Jason hit it on the head. The impact of the why. I think we all had our own reason. Like Jason told the story about like what he wanted his. Mine was just how I grew up. Josh, you know some of that story is that I didn't have an awesome, I love my parents. I'm not going to put it out wrong. But grew up physically getting my butt kicked a lot. And when I heard Dave talk about the kids side, dude, that like touched my soul. Like I knew that like, if we're going to impact children, that feels like a calling for me. Just my whole life, anytime I could coach kids or mentor kids or be around kids. I've always been drawn to it. So like that for me was my all in.
Yeah. I want to ask you guys your favorite story, and maybe you already told it, but I'll give you mine first. I can't remember the charity's name. I can just remember what they did. But the guy came in and he's running more of a homestead kind of farm. And and he's taken young men and teaching them how to farm, how to plant, how to harvest, and teaching them biblical principles in the same way and giving them that role model from. And I was like, hey, guy, I got a farm if you ever need some extra space. I was like, I approached him afterwards. I was like, you're doing some awesome work. If you grow this thing with this donation and you need some extra space, you just call me because I love what you're doing.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, I don't remember the name of that farm, but I remember the mission because our friend Andy sent his kid just this last summer to his farm because, teenage boys tend to get attitudes. And he's like, well, we're going to work that attitude right out of you. And it's focused on God, so even better. Yeah. So he said he had quite the summer.
Good.
It turned him.
It just reminded me of being a kid. And I think that's probably why the story, because I was, fighting with my father being the oldest son and really stubborn and rebellious, much like my father. And Boy Scout camps and church camps, like I got to be a different human and see different mentors and different role models. And I'm sure that laid some lessons for me that I didn't get from my dad. Not that he wasn't a present father or a bad father. It was just different.
Different lessons.
Yeah. And that's what we need as young men.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Jason? Is there one that stuck out?
For me, the most impact was, I don't remember the organization, but her question back to us was, how old do you think, what's the average homeless person in Dane County? And I'm thinking it's a 35, 45-year-old male on State Street somewhere.
Because that's what we saw going to the bars begging for money.
That's what we see. And she said the average age is between 8 and 9. Oh, and it's just like, it's just a nasty taste in my mouth. And it reminds you how well a community can hide, these typically single moms with, 1, 2, 3 kids living in a car kind of thing. And they get their food at school, but otherwise you don't see them because they're not sitting on a street corner. So that was just a reminder of, if that's the average age, there's a lot of work to be done here in Dane County. So,
and there's so much affluence.
Yes.